Cheers, queers! Today on the Big A Agenda, we are talking to Ned, the creative producer behind the amazing Thai girl love show, Queendom. Welcome to the podcast, Ned.
Hi, hello everyone.
We are so happy you're here. We're very excited to pick your brain about your involvement with Queendom and everything that you did, and we're just very appreciative that you're here. So first and foremost, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. We appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome, and I'm so excited to be here to share my thoughts and the entire process of the series with everyone.
Yes, awesome. Our first question is, what first grabbed your attention about the Queendom novel and made you want to turn it into a series?
Great question. So as this series will be the first GL series for WeTV original, we wanted to have something that would really stand out in the market, but still have some mainstream appeal. So when we first started, my script doctors went through close to 100 of IPs before they stumbled upon Queendom. And when my script doctor pitched the story to me, and there was something about it that immediately stood out. Because personally, I've always been quite a sucker for romantic comedies. And every single project that I've done with WeTV has been in that genre. And Queendom immediately gave me that feeling that it has the warmth and familiarity with 90s and 2000s rom-coms that we grew up loving. So, but it still has a fresh twist to it. And although the body switch concept isn't entirely new, but seeing it through a girl love perspective makes it entirely different in terms of experience. So what really sealed the deal for me was when my script doctor described this one particular scene, that after the body switch, Ray sees her own body smiling while Print is inside. And it's the first time she realizes how beautiful she looks when she's genuinely happy, because she's never had that smile before when she was in her own body. So that moment made her see herself through the eyes of someone else. And that moment really struck me really strongly. And it showed how this story isn't just all about fun or comforting, but it's also deeply empowering as well. So beneath all the humor and the romance, it all links back to female empowerment, self-acceptance, and learning to love yourself from a new perspective. So that kind of made me go, this is the story that should be the first GL for WeTV, because it stands for something.
Yes. Wow. No, I couldn't agree more. Literally everything you just said. It has a lot of character development, more so than you'd expect from a typical rom-com. And you're right, it stands for something. There's self-discovery. There's just so much that was packed in this show that I truly wasn't expecting, and makes it very special.
There was a lot of queerness that I wasn't expecting.
Also that.
And so here for it.
All of it.
I'm so glad that you guys liked it, and everyone else. It just made us think that, oh, it's so worth it to take that risk in the initial screening for the IPs.
Yeah, it definitely paid off. And especially how much passion you're talking about this project in your answers. You can really tell, because that translated on screen, because you could just feel that everybody loved this production who worked on it.
Truly.
So something that we've noticed is that a lot of Thai girl love shows often come from novels. So can you walk us through how you actually go about adapting a book for TV?
Okay. So personally, I can't speak for other studios, but based on my own experience, is the reason behind this is actually quite practical, and it might be a bit unromantic at a certain extent, because we have to admit that at the end of the day, girl love series has become a business model in itself, right? So when we decide to adapt a novel, we look at the data, we look at the readership numbers, the popularity, whether the story has already been translated to other languages, which would help with the international appeal. I mean, it is not the most artistic answer, but it is the reality that we are living in. And we want to make sure that the story has an existing audience that we can build on. But so that's the boring part of the answer. But if we move on to the fun part on how we actually adapt it to screen, like during the acquisition process, we will talk to the authors if there's like any specific things that they would like to keep in the series. And some would like write pages for us down, like keep this. But because the novel and TV are two very different mediums, and we want our screenwriters to have the creative freedom to make the story work on screen as well. But we still want to stay respectful to the original spirit of the story. So in the case of Queendom, Salmon actually gave us full freedom to interpret it however we wanted. And that kind of trust really motivated us to be even more thoughtful about our adaptation to the novel, because we wanted to make sure that the heart of her story stays intact, even though the structure has been changed. So in the development process, we usually start with the pilot script, because that's the first real look that we can see how the adaptation will feel. So when we first released the 10-minute pilot, we were still developing the full screenplay as we were doing that as well. So when we released it, we closely monitored the audience reaction, what they liked, what confused them, and we looked at what they wanted more of. And by they, we mean like the readers of the original novels. So one recurring comment was about the mirror scene, which people loved, but since the pilot was quite short, some viewers were like a bit confused about the idea that the characters are falling in love with their own bodies. So we know from that point that like the execution of this needs to be like very crucial. So inside the writer's room, we try to focus on making it about self-love, self-acceptance, and make it the emotional core of the story. So that the audience wouldn't see it as something strange, but just something very deeply human and something very beautiful. So another big challenge for us was expanding the world of the story, since like it needed to feel like 12 episodes total. So we knew we had to add more layers and new characters, new dynamic to make the story feel richer. And from the start, we wanted to have like two couples immediately, because we know that we wanted to offer like two different kind of flavors and two different kind of love that can appeal to like many different audiences. So you have like Ray and Print, who represent that feeling of young love, first love energy. It's sweet, it's nostalgic, and it has that little bit like puppy love energy that people remember from their youth, right? So on another hand, we also have like Wan Mai and Sai Fon, who are more mature, and their relationship is a bit messier and more complicated, and it's like a bit more spicy. And I guess it feels closer to what many of us like core viewers have related to, like closer experience to as well. And well, there's actually like many more behind the scenes of how these relationships were developed, but I think I would just want to pass this on, that this development process will be further explored with the screenwriters when they have their written interview, and I would urge people to go and read their process as well, because they can explain it way better than I can.
Yes.
Yes.
Kudos to the screenwriters. Kudos to all of you working on this project. It's very interesting because like when adapting a novel, Theora and I've talked about like how involved is the author. So it's really cool to see that like, you talk to them, and well, at least for this production, at least. You do like ask like what they want to keep in. So that was very interesting. Thank you for letting us know that.
Yes, and just want to quick shout out to Salmon as well, because throughout, even though she gave us full freedom, throughout the entire process, ever since before we even launched the series, she has been nothing but supportive, and she has helped us with like trending parties.
Oh my God.
Every single thing, like every single week, and she would do like gift away and everything. So we feel like she, even though we have never even met, we only talk online, like we feel like, oh, such like strong sense of sisterhood and like friendship with her. So big shout out to her.
Oh, I mean, thank you. Without you, none of us would be here. So thank you. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so as you kind of mentioned, there's many people who work together to put Queendom together. So how did you put your crew together for the show, and what did you look for in the people you were choosing?
Okay. So when it comes to choosing the key crew together, the very first thing I look for is passion. I love people, working with people who have that like spark in their eyes, like people who are like genuinely driven and excited about what they're making, what they're creating, because like at the end of the day, it's a long process, and this energy makes the whole process more fun and like creatively like alive, you know? And for me, I have a soft spot for first-time directors. So all of my projects with We2We has been with first-time directors, because for me, there's something very, very special about that phase in your career, because there's hunger to prove yourself. There's fearlessness to take risk, and like the willingness to like give it all you have. And like, for me, that kind of energy is quite contagious. And it creates this like, we can do anything atmosphere that I really love when I work. So even with my group of screenwriters, like this was their first time writing a GL series as well. And when I brought them on board, they only had one series to their name, which wasn't even released yet during the time of my development. So, but they were working with me on another series as well. And because like we had such a positive working relationship, I was like, oh, why waste a good thing when you found it? So because there was this like really shared rhythm between us all, and it made the development process feel quite natural and collaborative, you know? Yeah. And what I always said is like, I had this vision for like a female dream team. It was like a very intentional decision from my part, because as I mentioned that it would be the first We2We's first GL series, I wanted it to be like a story for women by women. So like, of course, like we selected everyone based on their strength and like demands on the job, but I made it a point that I wanted to put as many talented women as possible in key creative positions. So when I chose Beam as a director, I shared this vision with her, and she really embraced this idea, and she chose to surround herself with very strong, capable women who poured so much heart and perspective into the project as well. But with that being said, like we also have incredible men on the team as well. And these men who have been nothing but supportive of this vision that we have. So they also created a safe space for the women to take the lead, which I really appreciate. And it's not about, at the end of the day, it's not about excluding like anyone, but it's about creating an environment where women can step forward confidently and everyone can work together with like mutual respect and enthusiasm and, like I said, passion for something that we love.
That's amazing.
Yeah. After spoiler alert for those out there, we did an interview with Beam and can attest to the enthusiasm, the spark, like absolutely. So it does sound like you got a dream team for this, like at the end, which is great.
A team that seems to work very well together.
Yes.
Yes, very well.
Were there any moments during production where you felt especially proud of the team you built?
Honestly, I feel that every single day I walk on set, because like shooting days are painful. They start painfully early and they end very late. And the conditions are less than ideal most of the time. I mean, it's not the comfort of like an air-conditioned office. And sometimes you're sharing like 3 bathrooms with nearly 100 different people. So production life is chaotic, messy, and very exhausting. But somehow, because of the people I get to come and meet every day, I still look forward to coming on set and seeing it every day. And what makes it worth it is like the people. I want to see everyone do their magic. And I want to watch like the words I have read on the script finally come alive on screen. I mean, we have tough days, and production is basically about facing like 100 different problems a day, but making the best possible decision for each one. But what makes me so proud every day is like the team's amazing attitude. So no matter what comes our way, they approach it with this like unstoppable, like, come get me, this kind of energy. And it's the resilience and the can-do spirit that makes me so proud of the team that I've built. So even on the hardest day, we see how everyone pulls together, and it reminds me of why I love to do this and why this team in particular means so much to me.
That's so beautiful. It's inspiring. I'm very happy to hear that. So when you were first developing Queendom, how did you and your team decide to approach the body swap theme in a way that felt new?
As I mentioned earlier, like the body swap trope isn't something entirely new. I mean, it's been done before many times, but what makes Queendom different is it's the first time the concept is explored through the GL lens, because it's such a familiar setup. It's also an easy trap that you can fall into if you repeat what's been done. So I knew from the start that I wanted this series to come out as a comfort watch, but with a bit of a modern twist. It has to be something that feels warm and nostalgic, but fresh and relevant to today's audience. So that's when I know that I wanted a new voice behind it. I wanted someone who could look at a familiar trope, but reinterpret it in an unexpected way. So choosing Beam to direct this project came from that instinct that I had, because I knew that if I went with a veteran director, I knew that I would know exactly what I can expect. I will expect a polished piece that might feel a bit too safe. But with Beam, it was the opposite. It felt like a new territory. It's a bit unpredictable, but it's exciting. Like, she brings this like fresh sensibility and very modern perspective that I felt was perfect for Queendom and what we're going for. So from the very beginning, Beam and I agreed that we wanted the series to feel accessible and mainstream, something that everyone can enjoy, but wrapped in an exciting and contemporary package. But most importantly, we both wanted to feel like it's empowering for women. So even though it's like a body swap on the surface, like at its core, it's really about self-love and self-acceptance. And that's become our guiding theme throughout the development. And we wanted this simple, entertaining story to leave viewers with a quiet but meaningful message about seeing yourself with kindness and learning to love the person that you already are.
I'm really glad you explained that, because like honestly, like that's one of the things I liked about the show so much, because I was like, I've seen body swap stuff, but like I was so surprised with how much your show did with that in a new way. So yeah, no, thank you. That definitely comes through. So back to like the adaptation process. So when you were in the process of adapting from the novel into the series, how did you and your team decide which parts of the novel to keep, which to change, which to take out?
So once we announced the IP acquisition, the script doctors and I started to monitor the comments from the fans of the novels, and we tried to pay very close attention to which scenes they talked about most, what moments they say they wish to see brought to life. And we continued doing this even after the pilot's release to observe what resonated with the audience and what didn't. So throughout the development, we try our best to accommodate most of these voices while still crafting something that works on screen as well. But so most important thing was for us to preserve the heart of the story, even though like the series didn't follow the novel 100% in terms of the plot. But we believe that we captured its spirits and the emotional core and the message of the author wanted to convey. And our goal was to reinterpret that essence in the way that feels natural and impactful, but still in the format of a series. But this is also a point that I think the screenwriters will touch up on, and again, I urge everyone to go read up on their thoughts and their perspective for the series.
I love that you made sure to listen to the fans of the source material, because a lot of, I mean, I don't know it personally, but some productions might just like completely overlook them, but these are the people that are going to be watching and consuming your project. So it's great that you took the time to really listen to them. So something that made this project like even better is that these actors really fulfilled these roles to like, they nailed their roles. They were all so amazing and very fun to watch. What made you feel like these actors were the right fit?
First, when we were still in the IP sourcing process initially, we had our show, Shuang Asia, which was a reality show that was also on air on WeTV. So back at the drawing board, we were considering casting some of the contestants from the show to be like the project after Shuang Asia finished. And at that stage, we were looking at IPs where the talents could possibly showcase their singing and dancing. And very early on, Pam was actually on my short list. And but it wasn't like she was a definite choice, but she was more of like a starting point as we were exploring ideas of what we could do. So at one point when we decided to move forward with the Queendom IP, it became very clear that Pam was our Ray. Notice I will say Pam is Ray for now. So her personality and aura kind of made perfect match with the character. So next step for us was finding the right print. So the audition process for print lasted a very long time, and we saw so many actors. But even though while we were looking, Pam was always supportive and adaptable throughout the journey. So then I first saw Arhoung on Instagram, and honestly, her photo made me feel like a bit skeptical at first because she looks very fierce, like almost like a queen bee. So I was worried that she might be too similar to Pam in terms of like typecasting. So initially we thought that she might also suit the role of Ray because of her look. But then we called her in for an audition, and once we got to know her more, she immediately gave us the print energy that we were looking for. But the moment that truly sealed the deal wasn't even like a scripted scene. It was the improvised scene that we released the audition tape of. So it was fun because we watched Arhoung, who seemed very fierce in her photo, but she becomes like this shy person, and she crumbled like a little cat around Pam. And Pam, we know is fierce already, she softened in response, and watching it felt magical, and there was like undeniable chemistry when we watch. So before the auditions, we would always tell the actors, don't do anything you're not comfortable with. And so any gestures or moments that they do, it's entirely their own choice. So the fact that Arhoung and Pam added these small, like intimate touches, peck on the cheeks, it kind of showed us that they were willing to open up to one another. And like that spontaneity and that trust like told us everything that we need to know, that this is our Ray and print.
It was meant to be. That's so cute.
Oh my gosh. It's so cute. They really did do such a great job.
Yeah, incredible. And they played both roles too, which is not easy for actors to do. Like, keeping two characters in your head, like,
yeah,
a lot.
Was there any difficulty casting Wan Mai and Siphon?
Wan Mai, actually no. Actually, like with Wan Mai, Linn was actually on the top of our list in the beginning, but we were very intimidated to approach Linn because we have heard that she's very selective with her projects. And Linn is a veteran in the GL world, but she has not accepted any GL like projects. And we always see her as this like unattainable and very, very artistic type of person. So knowing that our project is quite campy and quite light, we were initially very unsure that she would be even interested. So we never asked the casting director to contact her because we were like, she wouldn't be interested in doing this. But it was like a blessing because Beam had to go to like some event, and she ran into Linn like coincidentally, and they got the talking. And you know, Beam, you've talked to her, she has this like fiery passion when she talks, and like you feel it's quite infectious. So what Beam did was Beam went to see Linn and like pitched her the idea of, would you be interested in coming to audition for the project? And Linn always mentions that she can sense the passion in Beam's voice. So she was like, yeah, why not? So she came to audition, and we also had many choices for Siphon, but we always held like one mai. If she was interested, she was our one mai. And it was just a matter of fact of finding the right Siphon for her. So after a while, we've casted a couple of Siphon. We always tell Linn, go with someone you feel comfortable with. So at one point, Linn invited Praew, who wasn't in our list initially at first, because also Praew had many projects, and we've also felt that she feels unattainable to us. Like, so Linn kind of like went to pitch the project to Praew as well. So they came to audition, and it was just one scene, and it just sealed the deal for us entirely. Like, we're done looking. This is it.
That's amazing.
That's crazy. Like the two people you didn't think that you could get, and you're like, oh damn, we got them. That's great. They killed it.
They did. Yeah. They were fantastic.
I love them so much.
I love that so much.
I know. We love them too.
Okay. Our next question is from one of our Patreon members, Cassie M. So shout out to you. So Cassie's question is, did you have the actors try out scenes as both their original and swapped characters to see how they handled it, or did they only audition for one character?
So I love that this question actually connects to the previous question, because during the audition process, like each actor has to perform 3 different scenes for Print and Ray. So first they have to play the character in their original body, then the switch, and then we have them improvise a scene where they ask the other person out on a date, because the last scene was our way of gauging their natural chemistry and how comfortable they are with each other while going off script. So as I mentioned before, like Pam was originally auditioning for Ray, and Arhoung was Print. And at that time, we were still in like the script development phase. So while we already have like a rough sense of where the story was going in terms of story structure, we knew that from early on that these characters would spend most of their time living in each other's bodies. So that made things quite challenging, because essentially they needed to master 2 characters in one person, themselves and the other person. So both of them came into audition. I think, if memory serves, they came twice. The first round was focused on their swapped characters, and we kind of give them notes, and we try to see how they can adjust to the notes when they came in for a second time. So it was after the first session that Beam had this like total light bulb moment, and she suggested that, what if we switched the roles? What if we just have Pam play Print and Arhoung play Ray, since they'd be spending most of their time in the swapped bodies anyway? And, you know, I had to admit that I was very hesitant at first, because at that point, I had pitched this project so many times that I got used to thinking of Pam as Ray and Arhoung as Print. But, you know, I have to say that Beam's idea was like a stroke of genius, because it made perfect sense to the story and like for the emotional depth that we wanted. And I give her full credit for that decision. It was 100% the right call.
Yeah, no, yeah. Seriously, it's just amazing learning that, because I was curious, because I'm like, oh, the characters, they spend more time in the swap body, so like this makes perfect sense now. Thank you for explaining all of this. This is amazing.
Was there any like surprises or like unexpected moments during casting that made you rethink anything? I know you talked a lot about like how the actors were cast, but like maybe that like changed parts of the story or like how they presented the characters.
Actually, not really, but or at least like not for in terms of casting itself, but one thing that made me question it was actually like something from a more of a business standpoint, because if I have to address like the elephant in the room, it was a tough decision to cast both Pam and Arhoung, because like as we know, like both artists come from like different agencies, right? So we know that from the start that this would complicate a few things further down the line, and there were like many practical considerations to be had, like contracts, promotion, scheduling, next steps for the talents, all those like very boring stuff. So every time I thought about taking the easy route, I would go back and I would watch that improvised audition scene. Not even the scenes where they were playing the characters, but that like unscripted moment between the two of them. And every single time I watch it, I found it so endearing, and I found them so naturally in sync that I could not imagine the show without the two of them together. So if I have to, I'd like to share like a little tidbit from behind the scene. Is like at one point it came down to Arhoung or another actress, and like on paper, the other option made perfect business sense, but emotionally, I was drawn to Arhoung more, and because we felt like she had something very special. And I remember I was feeling completely torn between making a logical choice and just following my gut instinct. So what I did was I called Beam, and honestly at that point I needed a sounding board or maybe someone to be like a bit crazy with me. So I told her what I felt, and thankfully she felt the exact same way. So we both agreed that, okay, screw everything, we're going to follow our hearts, and if our hearts say it's Arhoung, then it's the decision that we will stand by, and never once have we regretted that decision.
Oh, that's so great.
Oh, that always follow your heart.
That is rough though, because like being in the business position of like, that is a very tough call. But yeah, I think you made the right call in the end. If it complicated things, I'm sorry.
You keep coming back to the improv scene, and Beam actually led us into, there was improv in the show. Was there a certain improv moment that you love from the show?
Oh, there's so many. Yes. So many, but I think the one that matches my humor the most, it's a small one, but it's the sponge scene where Arhoung mimics Pam's character with the green sponge and the pink sponge. I love that.
And then I think I noticed, I might have noticed this wrong, but like she swaps the information too. So like she got the sponge information wrong. Oh my gosh, it was so funny.
Yes, because to me it was so subtle. Like if you did not pay attention, you would just think she's mimicking her in terms of the tone of voice. But then if you really paid attention, she got it wrong.
And it's just like, it's the perfect addition to get it wrong.
Yeah, and like a lot of like during Arhoung playing print, a lot of things is improvised on the spot.
Amazing.
Yeah, a lot of it is just Arhoung being Arhoung.
I honestly, before talking to you and Beam, I didn't realize there's so much improv in this show. It's like, it makes it so much better.
Yeah.
Is there any other improv moments that we'd be surprised to know that were improv?
Actually, the print payday dance was out. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, like I think at that point, if I remembered correctly, we only had one shooting day down, and Beam and I talked that, oh, maybe we needed more time with the girls so that like to make the shooting day a bit more efficient. So we called them in for like a quick like workshop session. So we're like, okay, let's do a checklist of what we want to get down so we don't have to find it in front of set. And Prince Payday dance was actually one of the things that like was developed in the workshop. Like, oh yeah, let's do this. It's so silly.
That's so funny. It's like iconic. It comes up so many times in the show, so it's so funny. It came up at a workshop. That's awesome. In your eyes, what sets Queendom apart from other girl love dramas?
So I think for anyone who has watched Queendom, I think it's pretty clear that we are something entirely different from the other GLs out there. I mean, we're loud in style and we're a bit unconventional and we're delightfully unique in every single way. I mean, I've seen people online say that Queendom doesn't feel like a GL. And I actually take that as a compliment because it has a very like coming of age energy, which I fully credit to Beam and our story development team. I mean, this is not to compare to other series, but for me, what makes Queendom truly stand out is its heart. I mean, as I mentioned, and as you've mentioned, that this project is made with so much love, like genuine love from every single person that has been involved in the project. I mean, we can sense that everyone knew that we were creating something special, and they treated the project almost like a passion project, because this project was a chance for us all to try something new, to be a bit more bold and to break some molds. And because of that, everyone poured a piece of themselves into the project. So a body swap story could easily have fallen into the traps of like cliches. And we've seen that done before, but we wanted to go deeper and we wanted to give it spirit, heart, and like a soul. So at its core, like Queendom isn't just about like swapping bodies, but it's about seeing yourself through someone else's eyes and learning how to love what you see and finding acceptance within yourself. And I think that's why people who love the show really, really love it, because I think they can feel that authenticity and the collective heart behind it.
I literally couldn't agree more with what you're saying. Absolutely.
And it's such a great message for the fans itself, because we all need the reminder of that and just to look at ourselves in a new way. Have you had any really memorable or funny moments with fans since the show aired?
Oh, actually, like there's like a couple that comes to mind, but one of the most like touching moments actually happened at our Queendom Pinky Party. I mean, that was our first like official offline event, and to be honest, like the turnout wasn't huge, but the people who came, you can tell that they were the core fans and the ones who have been with Queendom from the very beginning, and they loved it. So at that event, I wanted to do something special for them because, like, I think it's no secret by now that I also manage the Twitter account, the X account as well. So I wanted to do like a special giveaway of like the T-shirts from the shoot. And at one point, the MC on stage like announced that I was the producer because I wanted to take some photos of like the lucky winners of the show. And yeah, everything went on normally. But then later, when the cast had their little meet and greet session with the fans after the event, like which was like a very heartwarming moment to see, like something a little bit unexpected happened because like a few fans actually came up to me as well, and like and they thanked me for making the show, and like they started sharing with me how much like the show meant to them. And this was just a halfway point of our series, and they even asked like, oh, can we take like a selfie, can we take a photo together? And it was such like a small thing, but it really like stayed with me because as someone who's like usually behind the scenes, I don't get a lot of these like I see you moments. So for a brief moment, it felt like the love that we poured into the show was like being reflected back at me, and it was incredibly moving.
That's the cutest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, I'm so glad that happened. Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
you deserve your time to shine, because you and like your whole team really just deserve this moment to be seen by everybody, because so much work has gone into it and people don't realize that unless they see it. And so thank you so much for sharing all this behind the scenes knowledge with us.
No, very welcome. Like, I'm so happy to be able to share it, because like, I mean, as magical as everything that happens on screen, I think a lot of amazing things happen behind as well, and I wish that people would know.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping, we have an audience that is geared towards this, so we're hoping they gain a better insight from what you're telling everybody. And also, I just have to say, being a producer and managing a social media account, that's 2 jobs. Like that, you deserve a reward just for doing that. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's so much work.
Yeah, it is. Like,
labor of love.
Yeah,
yes.
with love.
Okay, but going off of that train, since you were interacting with fans a lot via like X, Twitter, were there any fan theories you saw while the show was airing that made you laugh or you thought were clever while you were kind of interacting?
Actually, yes. Like, there is one particular event that still makes me like laugh a little, because I think we were going to air episode 6. So I made like a very subtle post on like emojis that represent episode 6. And at the end, one of the emojis I chose to use was a man with a mustache.
Oh, yeah. I remember that post.
And that single emoji spiraled, and like it sent everyone absolutely wild. And like fans were like, wait, why is there a man in the show? Who is this? What's happening? And the theories got, if I remember correctly, the theories got very crazy. But, and like, it went wild. But I mean, now we know that it was actually like Arhoung wearing like a fake mustache. But
amazing scene.
Yeah, but at the time, no one saw it coming. No one except for one person who guessed it as a joke. Like, I think
that's amazing.
She photoshopped a picture of Arhoung and a fake mustache as a joke. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe, like, I know she didn't know. I know she didn't know that it was going to be true. I'm pretty sure she made it as a joke. But I remember, like, I bookmarked that because I was like, this is going to be so funny when it comes true. And then, like, immediately after the episode aired, she, like, retweeted it again. I was like, yeah, it's so funny, because it's so funny and chaotic. And, oh, it's just hilarious for me that it's like, yeah, our show was that ridiculous. You
so
get
funny.
a joke and it came true.
I don't think anything can top that, to be honest.
Yeah, you have to get those wild theories out there, because you never know.
You never know.
It's true.
Just put it out there.
Oh my gosh.
That's really funny.
I mean, it was a perfect emoji to use, because the resemblance was uncanny.
That was an amazing costuming job.
Yeah.
So funny.
Okay, so we have one last question for you, and it's from another fan, and this is from Megan on Discord. Why did you cut the deleted scene that was later released?
Okay. This is a great question. The answer will be a bit long. So, okay. So, to be honest, that deleted scene wasn't even part of the original screenplay at all. But let me give you the full context of how it actually came to be, because it's quite an interesting journey, and it reveals a lot of vulnerability behind the scenes as well. So towards the end of production, like, I think we only had like one shooting day left. At the same time, we had another GL series that is airing on our platform, and it was performing really, really well. So of course, as research, we like look at the data to see like which moment like drove engagement, like how the numbers were so crazy. And what we found was that the relationship in that show progressed quite quickly. Like they had like a kiss or an NC scene by the time it got to episode 3. And when we learned that, immediately there was question that is raised from our team, like, so when does Ray and Prince kiss in Queendom? And my answer was at the end of episode 6. And like that worried a lot of people, because like we originally made Queendom to be built as a slow burn, and we wanted Ray and Prince's relationship to feel believable. So for the intimacy to like really land emotionally when it does happen. So I understood the concern, but I guess at that point we needed something like for safety, just in case, you know? So from an artistic standpoint, it doesn't make sense for the characters to kiss at episode 3, like, because emotionally they weren't there yet. But I also wanted to give the We2We team like some peace of mind. So I called Beam to discuss the logistics and asked her to look through episode 3 to see if there was something that we can add that would still make sense, like narratively, but something that could show intimacy without like forcing it. So Beam came up with the idea that we should do another rehearsal scene, and it could be something that worked emotionally and be shot within like the remaining schedule. But like, of course, it meant that we have to cut a few other scenes out to make time to shoot this in this scene instead. So once Beam shared her vision, I talked to our script supervisor, who's also one of the screenwriters. She was with me at the time. And I told her to take that brief and turn it into like a scene for me. And together we looked through the shooting breakdown for that final shooting day. And we tried to decide together, okay, what we can cut so we can sacrifice it to make the new scene fit. And then, so we shot it. And after shooting it, we placed it into episode 3 for our internal viewing. And with the internal viewings, like this is when like the magic of fresh eyes really matter, because for us, when we've been living in the edit room for weeks, we kind of get attached to every single scene. We know how hard it is to edit, how hard it was to shoot, and you kind of lose perspective at that point. So during the internal screening, fresh eye, no one has known anything about the show. Almost everyone who doesn't even know that this new scene was added like last minute, the consensus was that scene felt out of place emotionally. Like the story's pacing and the character's emotional state, it didn't align with having a romantic beat at that moment. And honestly, like I felt it too, but hearing other people say it confirmed it for me. So out of respect, we also showed that cutting to our screenwriters as well, because it wasn't part of their original vision. But in the end, we decided together that we wanted to be sincere to the story and stay true to the character's emotional journey. So we made a decision to cut it. But with that said, like, we have to admit it was a beautiful scene. And I didn't want it to go unseen. And around that time, the show's like engagement numbers weren't strong. And we needed to do something to build like a sense of community, to drive people together, to do something to get the engagement numbers up. So we decided that we would challenge the audience to the trending. We started with that deleted scene. So we decided to do a trending party to be a way to reward our dedicated fans, to build a sense of community. And hopefully we know that scene was good enough that it might draw in new viewers. So I know that for some people, we monitor the comments, of course. So we know that some people questioned it, like they were upset, like, why was this removed from the screenplay? And I completely understand that. But I also believe that the diehard fans know, like, that our heart was in the right place, and we wanted to honor the story and still share something special with them. So in the end, we think it's like a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, no, that's a clever marketing strategy, honestly, to use that. Like, that was a brilliant choice. And like, I agree. I think for the story you were writing, it would have felt weird. Like by episode 3, and like the fact that they have an emotional journey and a slow burn is one of the things I like about the show. So like, I was not mad to wait till episode 6, to be honest.
Yeah, because I feel like the payoff was a lot more powerful.
Yeah, totally.
When it got to episode 6, because episode 6 was the one where the only episode that I cried when I watched the edit, because I felt like, oh my God, the payoff was so worth it.
It was.
The wait was so worth it.
Yeah. No, all brilliant choices. Okay, well, that was our last question. Ned, we want to thank you again for taking the time to talk to us and to share such in-depth insight from your perspective from Queendom. Like, thank you for your service and everything that you did. We appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much. You're so welcome. Thank you for inviting me for the interview. It means so much.
Of course. Oh, it's literally our pleasure. You're welcome anytime. Okay, and with that concludes our interview. If you haven't watched Queendom, I'm surprised you watched this interview, but go watch it. If you have seen it, watch it again. Find the deleted scene if you didn't know it existed. And until next time, everybody, hydrate for lesbian Jesus.
And gate up all over the place.
Bye.
Bye.
And with that, we've been Big Gay Energy. If you like this episode, check out all our other episodes right here on YouTube.
Please like, leave a comment below, and subscribe for more amazing super gay content.